other suffering because many people are losing confidence by the day in those managing affairs today. This week, the conversation is about the re-arrested Aisha 1. The re-arrest has opened a can of worms. A lot of issues are coming up. How she may have had her national identification card, or what we call Ghana card, something that has raised a lot of eyebrows, especially because the dates on the card suggest the issuance was done on a Sunday, a day the NIA doesn't officially work. And we've seen a long essay in an attempt to rationalize what has happened. But the fact is simple, that illegal mining activities in this country has state sponsorship right from the office of the president. And I'm backing my claim authoritatively from leaked videos, leaked conversations, statements made categorically on platforms. For example, I remember very well that the former local government minister made a categorical statement threatening DCs who are involved in illegal mining. As we speak, we know our cocoa industry is threatened because some countries are already telling us that they found traces of mercury and other substances in our cocoa beans, and therefore in the near future, if we don't stop this menace, even the cocoa we depend on or have depended on since independence may be a thing of the past. Apart from the scramble for the land where we put our cocoa trees, the beans themselves we are selling every year to raise so much foreign reserves have become something that you must be worried about. This morning, many of you may be surprised to hear that the DC for Elembele has been arrested. In fact, the police has shared some pictures we will also put on our screens shortly about a statement they issued that is reflecting what really happened. This DC for Elembele, as we speak, is in the custody of the Ghana Police Service at Sekendi, which is the regional office. His arrest is raising a number of questions, but if you look at the pictures, you would see that we have excavators which moved from a police station deep into the forest and hidden under plantations. But kudos to the men in black uniform, I mean the police service and national security operatives, who were bent on finding at least the excavators. They are 2 in number. 1 has been found. Now the police has issued a statement which describes why they arrested the DCE for Elembele. And I'll read the statement I'm sharing with you on the screen. And it's very simple and very pathetic. And it reads, the police, through days of intelligence operations yesterday, that's the 6th of September 2022, retrieved one of the excavators that was reported missing from Elembele. A team of operations and intelligence officers working day and night discovered the missing excavator several kilometers into a forest within the Elembele district. While the team of police officers were escorting the excavator to Takrady at the Axim Junction, the DC of Elembele, Mr. Kwesi Bonzo, organized and led some thugs to attack the police and obstruct the operation. The DC and 3 others were therefore arrested accordingly. Investigation continues to recover the extra excavator and arrest all those behind for justice. That's a brief statement the police has shared on its Facebook wall. It's raising a number of questions because the district chief executive is supposed to be the chairman of the district security council, which means he's known by officers on the ground and is supposed to be somebody who commands authority. And so many people will be wondering what really is happening at Elembele. And there are lingering questions that we need to ask. And these questions go directly to state officials and institutions involved. Because we have a case where the police had a confrontation with the DCE for an area, and I'm talking about Sekondi to be specific. After months of suspension, we only hear that the government has reinstated the DCE. And then a day after, the news is that the police has decided to discontinue the case. And so I'm sharing these critical questions. And the first one is, do the police know the DCE for Elembele? Mr. Kwesi Bonzo. Why will they ignore him? Because the DCE first made an attempt to question why they are moving the excavator from the forest where it was hidden. They ignored him and were making an attempt to move the excavator to the regional capital, which is Sekondi Takoradi. And then at the junction where he physically confronted the police with thugs he hired, he had to be bundled into the police vehicle and driven straight away to Sekondi. Why did he follow the operatives into the bush as they tracked the excavators? Why did he follow them to Sakrum in the district? Why did he try to forcibly stop the police from moving the found excavator to Sekondi? Is the chief of staff aware of his arrest? Is Vice President Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia, who is now the acting president, because as we speak, our president was in the Netherlands, is expected to move to France, and so he's acting as the president of the state. Are they aware that the DCE has been arrested and as we speak is expected to be in the custody of the police in Sekondi? Is the DCE still at post or he has been suspended? Does government care that this arrest or incident will further deepen mistrust and suspicion? Is it true that the Elembele District Police Commander, ACP Doji Holoji, has been interdicted because 2 excavators seized earlier by a combined team, including the District Mining Committee, meters away from the Ngrofol Agricultural SHS, went missing almost immediately? Will this MCE's conduct be swept under the carpet, like the way the presidency handled the case involving the Sekondi MCE, whose suspension for his altercation with the police at duty post became nothing? And the last one, will the police be cowed to abandon the case or promise to update the public to purge itself? These are critical questions that will be on the minds of many Ghanaians who are monitoring the incidents unfolding at Elembele. And again, tying this to the biggest story, Aisha 1. Many people are wondering how she was bold enough to come back into this country. In fact, there are conversations about threats against security operatives who mustered courage and arrested this woman. At least we know that she's using a different name. We also know that we were told she was going to be deported, and we believed it happened. And the schools of thought suggest that she may have been hiding just around the border in Togo, or may indeed have been in Ghana all along when many of us thought she has been taken out of this country. Now, there is one thing that should be of interest to you. Aisha 1 was arrested what was purported to be her national ID card, we call Ghana card. On that card, we have seen dates on that card suggesting something very fishy. Because a lot of Ghanaians, as we speak, don't have their cards, even though they've gone through the processes. But there was a date that raised a lot of eyebrows. A Sunday when the ID card was supposed to be issued. And the NIA has come out with a long story. But I'll share with you a few things. When did she first enter this country? We may not know, because the Ghana Immigration Service is suggesting that our borders are very porous, and so she could have sneaked in Fair enough. But she has lived and operated in Kumasi at least for more than 4 months, operating a business. The charges suggest that she was selling mining equipment to illegal small-scale miners. At the same time, she was deeply involved in illegal mining. These charges are the reason why a court has decided to remand her into police custody. Is the Ghana Immigration Service or National Security comfortable, especially at a time when we are told Ghana is under threat because terrorists are operating within the sub-region? And therefore, as we speak, and severally, we've been assured that security operatives have been deployed along our borders to ensure that people of questionable character do not enter this country. And so if they have been there and Aisha One has managed to sneak in, then it suggests that we are sleeping naked, and therefore our security operatives are indeed not working. But the National Identification Authority has issued a statement, and the statement is even raising a lot more questions, whether it is in a hurry to save its face or it is interested in finding out how Aisha One was issued with an ID card when she didn't provide all the requirements. And I'll share with you what is in the NIA statement, which you'll be reading along as we share on the screen. It says, and there are two parts of this statement which are very instructive. The first one, according to the NIA, says, and I'll read, according to the NIA, she subsequently, after renewing her card in 2016 and 2018, so we are told that the first card was issued to Aisha One on the 26th of February 2014. That was when, I'm sure all of us will be aware that the then former President John Mahama was in office. Even though the NIA has told that all the data collected by the NIA at the time was bogus, and therefore even when we're preparing into the 2020 elections, they had to collect a new database. They are told by the NIA in the letter they issued that in 2016 and 2018, this woman renewed her ID card. Again, according to the NIA, she subsequently did 2 more renewals on the 31st of August 2016 and the 8th of January 2018 using the same details and Chinese passport, and the number is quoted there, G3957565. And the NIA says throughout all these registrations, her details remained unchanged. So what is questionable at this time, which is funny about what NIA is attempting to do? The NIA says that in 2022, however, it recorded an incident at its registration center in Tamale where a Chinese national who filed an application at the first time foreign national applicant had her details matching with that of an existing application in NIA system. It goes ahead to say that when they detected this, they went into a technical state known as rejected due AFIS, which meant that the biometrics of the name, that's a Ruhia 1, possibly matched that of an already existing person in the name, that's the NIS database. Then they go ahead, and that is even more worrying, that the authority wanted her to provide the details, and 2 of the paragraphs said, and I quote, the authority said the applicant was given 2 options, either for a new card to be issued with her new details after verification of the supporting documents, or be issued with a renewed card with no changes to her details in the NIA system. She is, however, said to have chosen the second option, based on which she was issued a renewed non-citizen Ghana card. The fact is, it's a Ghana card. They should not try and bring any semantics by saying a non-citizen Ghana card. They are only playing with words. And they were issued with this card on the August 25th, 2022, with the name and date of birth of N1 on July 7, 1986, respectively. Now, the question is simple. Whether it was 2014, a renewal in 2016, or in 2018, or in August 2022 as they claim that they detected. You would notice from the NIA statement that they are trying to play on the minds of Ghanaians to suggest that it was after August when the attempt was made to try and register under a different name that their systems identified that there was some kind of impersonation. Now, when there is an attempt to impersonate, to take a card, is NIA mandated to arrest that person immediately and hand that person over to the police? Because it's pure impersonation. Or in this case, as they claim, they issued the card in advance and told this Galamsey queen to go and bring the details and give it to them. How about if she doesn't come again? Do you believe what the NIA is saying? That is the question we want to take to somebody who understands how the NIA operates. And therefore, we'll be speaking to a gentleman who is a systems analyst and a cyber security consultant. We'll be finding out from him if he has read the NIA statement and what he makes of the attempt to rationalize how Aisha 1 or N1 or whatever they want to call her managed to get a card registered in her name on condition that she will provide the details. In the conversation tonight too, we'll be speaking to the Peasant Farmers Association. In fact, you'll be surprised to hear how they feel about the devastation and the threat to the industry, particularly cocoa, and why many people who have had so much investment in the industry are worried today because they cannot imagine whether the future is bleak or there is hope because government continues to assure the people. And so if we have the guests I am speaking to on phone now, we'll be speaking to Yayira Koku, is a systems analyst and a cyber security consultant. And I'm told that he has had some deep appreciation with the operations of NIA because he has worked there before. Yayira, good evening and thanks for your time tonight.
Good evening, my brother, and good evening to your viewers and listeners.
Good. We are taking this serious business about Galamsey and what many people are now concluding to be state sponsorship, bit by bit. Our first scrutiny is about the institutions involved. And now we are looking at NIA and the card they claim have not been issued to Aisha 1, yet there is an explanation about how they gave her a temporary card on condition that she brings further details. If you go into the statement itself, what do you make of it, knowing how the NIA systems operate?
Okay, good evening to you again, and good evening to your viewers. I'll be speaking as a former head of systems for National Identification Authority and as a professional systems analyst and a cybersecurity consultant. Well, I had a privilege to be at NIA to head the system, and I was part of designing the system that we started in 2013. So that was called the FIMS Foreigners Identity Management System. Now, reading their statements critically as they issued it yesterday, one thing that was critical to me was that at the very point that there was a hit. Now, when I say the hit, it means that in the biometric system, when we say a hit, it means that a fingerprint matches with another fingerprint in the IFIS database or the IFIS system. Now, the IFIS is the automated fingerprint identification system. Now, the moment there's a hit, it goes into rejected IFIS. Now, when it goes to rejected IFIS, that is where they do investigations. So, for example, Eric, what will happen is that, for example, some people will go to the field, they will register. When they issue their cards to them, they look at the card and they say the card is not nice. The picture is not nice, so they try to go and register again. Now, when they register, it goes to IFIS. Now, those who do the investigation, they compare the two records and see whether the intent was criminal or not. Now, looking at Aisha Wine's own, the intent was for a criminal purpose. There is no two ways about it. The intent was for a criminal purpose. So that's why her name changed, her date of birth changed, and I'm sure the residence changed too. So that's at the moment she was supposed to be handed over to the police. A lot of Ghanaians have suffered this criminal prosecution for attempting to register double with different records. So I was a bit shocked, surprised, when the NIA even gave her the alternative to either renew the old one or go and bring in a gazette document to prove that her new name is the correct one that NIA should capture. Now, if you take it a critical look, I don't know whether it was conspired or whatever, because as we speak now, one of our guys, who is a top guy of our own, has still not received his Ghana card because his own is even a minor one, because his record matches with somebody who is amputated in the NIA system. His card up to now has not been released to him. They said they are still doing the investigation. Then you give a card to somebody whose records are totally different, and even went ahead to give the person the option that they should they renew the old one for the person. That is never done. It's against the NIA. And as I said, a lot of our Ghanaians have suffered for this already.
So because you know how NIA operates, normally when this is identified, you made reference to automated fingerprint identification system. If it triggers, where does the information go, and who gives the final authority for the issuance of a card, even when everything is cleared?
Okay, so we have people we call the IFIS experts at the NIA office. And from what I know, is they are still there. So when your record gets a hit, it gets to them. Now, when it gets to them, they look at the two records. When they look at the two records and they see that all the records are the same, the person has not changed his name, we pay particular attention to the date, your name, your date of birth. We pay a serious attention to that one. The moment those records are different, we reject that card and ask the person to come, or we report the person to the police for prosecution to start. That is how it is done. But imagine if Juan had came back and the records were all the same, we could have renewed it for her.
Right.
But the moment there's a mismatch of the names, and if you read the NIA first statement, there's a mismatch of the names and the date of birth. That one, it goes into the police for criminal prosecution. Now,
so under such circumstances, who should be held responsible for this slip, which is obviously deliberate?
Yes, the executive secretary takes solely responsibility for all those things, because he initiates prosecution against anybody that registers double.
And most especially because such a statement being issued to a national conversation on a woman who many Ghanaians were not happy to have heard that she was deported and haven't come back. When a statement is being issued in an attempt to clarify, it should have been in the known.
Exactly. And you know, one important thing is that any such issues, when there is a hit, can only be processed at the NIA head office, and the executive secretary, who is the head of NIA, should be in the know. So he takes solely responsibility, because anything there is a hit, that especially where there is a mismatch of data, he takes everybody. He's supposed to be informed by the director of operations. He informs him, and he initiates the prosecution. So under this circumstance, it is clear, if you read the statement correctly, the directive was coming from the head office.
Order from above.
Yes,
okay.
The directive was coming from the head office. It couldn't have been, because the operator wouldn't have been able to do it unless somebody at the head office clears that, yes, they should go ahead and process the record.
even when they don't have all the details as they stated in the statement they were waiting for.
Yes. And don't forget that at this stage, her new record has already been captured into the NIA system. That's why NIA was able to pull out her new passport for everybody to see.
Okay, Yayira Kwaku, we are so grateful for this education. Obviously, it points out to what we carefully chose to be the topic for tonight's conversation. And so the NIA cannot absolve itself in that long, winding, confusing statement that has shot itself in the foot. I told you we spoke to, so we are grateful for the conversation tonight. I believe that as we continue, we may come back to you for further conversations on other issues that may come up from how people react to NIA's weak statement.
Just one clarification.
I can hear you. You can go ahead and make it simple.
One thing that I'm so happy about this statement from NIA is that at least they've accepted that under President John Dramani Mahama, registration was ongoing at NIA. 2014, President Mahama was at the helm of affairs, and at least they've accepted that registration was going on ongoing. Not like what Dr. Baumia said, that NIA abandoned the NIA project. NDC abandoned the NIA project under President John Mahama.
Sure. I also had my old national ID card, and therefore I subscribe to what you have said. Thank you very much, Yayira Kwaku, for the education. So, Yayira Kwaku is systems analyst and cyber security consultant who has headed one very critical department at the NIA before the current administration took over. We'll be listening to another very worrying conversation I had with the executive director of the Peasant Farmers Association. But I want you to reflect on these before we take a break. And when we come back, you will have the opportunity to join this program tonight. The numbers you must keep with you when the phone lines are open are these: 020-4155-888, 020-4155-888, or 020-4155-944, 020-4155-944. Just reflect on these. I'll be back after the break.
Yay, as a government, you two want more. I feel so. And Pempi, no more important. No more important, so more important. Who be so more so the quiet machine I did do. Yes, Remo. My machine I did do enough. You will be importance, you know. Yeah. My machine I did do saying a waha. Imported thousands of these machines into the country. Obi so mo say odokwaduapu ya dubia ye ya machine ya kan e bebo mo ban nti ye behwe de ne die kire won so a import sa machines no na ba bi o mo ton no tinana no me no so mo fa mo ni ni akire yimisa mo nsa si nyina di ginam ginam si empenia eno ano yedi how we are
na omo ye garamse o mpasi aso afa no southeast be kokan ya me davana jo am Robert e ba na so e ba ti sami tuomyeni abra ma anya de ma wo se me mpre ma garamse ne ne de enkoso tie ahemfo ne ne ma garamse koso apan panifo no e be srem mo matumi bi medi e ho
sa garamse we e ba beje nsem esan mo amanyofo nti ene ye kokoo no ye dwiregu mo na mo de baaye ene yanka ye dwiregu ye forest na ye tuogu esan so nipa no okuta krata no de ye adwuma ma ho ode ne sei so bi ye ma no so no adwuma na abakro no ye nana no ye ma no nyina ye bi nti me koka sa me mpre me ma abante na wo baaye okuta ne krata wo de be ye adwuma me kuro ma no so anya adwuma ni bia ye enti sa me ko gina mo sa me mpnia na ta sa mi to ma no dia ne agu wo ne ye bebo me.
The main company that is helping develop the infrastructure system in Ghana is Sino Hydro. It's a Chinese company. The one that is going to help process our bauxite and provide about $2 billion to us. That's important. The most important thing that is being imported out of Ghana. So we must say example. I'm saying that there are many other things beyond what you see in these markets.
The average human body mass should have at least 60% water for optimal performance in any physical or mental exercise. We can help you maintain it naturally. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural. Best Wine is your one-stop wholesale and retail outlet for all your original favorite brands of wine, liquor, champagne at unbeatable prices. You can get discounts of up to 15% off. We provide customized solutions for your events with our event planning and catering services. Buy your well-stocked hampers from us at great prices. Best Wine is also a major distributor of X Natural Mineral Water. Locate us at number 34 Ni Norte Nyanchi Street, Jowulu, or call 050-761-3900 for delivery or for more inquiries. Best Wine, caliber of wine and liquor at its best.
Welcome back. This is Ideas Exchange on TV XYZ. I'm sure you are worried now, but don't be sad yet, because I'm going to give you another conversation that will make you even much more worried, and why you should be angry tonight. Our topic has been carefully chosen. It is the role, that's the Aisha 1 saga, the role of state collusion and suppressed institutions. Suppressed institutions because some of them could be whipped. I mean, the leaders of these institutions could be whipped to act in a certain way to please the kingpins, the unseen hands who are facilitating this mess in this country. I had a conversation with Dr. Charles Kwame Nyaba, who is the executive director of the Peasant Farmers Association. In fact, when I walked into his office, I could feel that this is a worried man who does not know how the future looks like. And so my first question was to gauge his mood and their own assessment of the impact of the illegal activities across all the farming belts of this country on their investments. And this was his first shot.
But farmers are out of business. Because of the galamsey, there is competition between two things. The land that we use for farming, especially cocoa, and the same land is what the galamseys also need for their activities. That is one. Those who are doing the cocoa itself and those who are doing the galamsey activities. And now those who are doing the galamsey activities are being backed by big people, big politicians, big businessmen, and they have pushed most of these farmers out of business. You know, if you go to most cocoa growing areas, the farmers who operate there, most of them are migrants. So they are managing these farmers for other big investors. So they have little say on the land. I have several reports of small-scale farmers who spend years, tens of years, to grow cocoa. Just a day they go there and all their cocoa trees are gone because the lands have been leased for galamsey activities. That's one part. We have also observed that in recent times, because of the mercury and then the other chemicals that is used to extract the gold and the diamond, the yields have come down drastically. For drinking waters in the cocoa growing areas, I cannot even talk about that. So in fact, we have actually exchanged our agricultural activities in these mining areas to the activities of galamsey. We were those who started clapping for government when they set up this galamsey team because we thought it was real. We never knew it was a scam. Because just some few months after the soldiers came to the place, drove these people out, we were all clapping. And people were actually preparing, thinking that the lands are going to be reclaimed for the farming activities. Within some few months later, you go there and the whole place is invaded again. Even lands that were not part of the galamsey areas, all those lands, currently when you go there, you see the lands being destroyed. So we think that government have not actually helped us. It was a good intention. Those who are in charge of implementation fail all of us, especially farmers. And I don't know for whatever reason that the government will be so passionate in supporting or empowering these galamseys to continue to push the farmers aside and then continue with their activities. And that is what we are experiencing.
And what is the level of anger among your members?
In fact, the farmers don't know what to do. Because in most of those areas, you go around the Offin River and then the Pra River area, most farmers who are members of Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, when I interacted with them, they said they want to join the galamsey activities. But they are not strong enough to join. Okay? They will not even allow them to join. So most of them are actually moving to other areas to see whether they can get alternative activities. And I'm telling you, if the farmers have power, they will attack any other person who go to that area.
Of how he concluded, I asked that there's no land in this country which doesn't have an owner. So we have the chiefs who are custodians of the land. We have developers whose properties may be affected, i.e. if these illegal miners decide to go to those areas, or farmers whose large tracts of land may equally be disturbed. Then I asked, there are also community members. There are drivers who may see the movement of excavators here and there. So the question was very simple. Couldn't all these people mobilize and confront the illegal miners head-on? And his response again sounded very worrying. Say if the farmers have power, but these farmers live in communities. There are chiefs there, there are assembly members there, there are policemen there. It's not collective enough for them to marshal forces against.
My brother, the forces that are behind the galamsees are far bigger than the farmers. Okay? We have all reasons to believe that the forces behind the galamsees are not only from the communities. Some are from Flaster House. Some are from Accra, big business people. There are some chiefs, excuse me to say, are also part of the activities. So if you look, the farmers are left alone. Who is talking for the farmer? Nobody is talking for the farmer. Because those community leaders that we were expecting that they will come to the aid of the farmers, majority of them are also in bed with the galamsees.
Is there any hope?
For now, there's no hope. Unless something drastic, because the impression that government gave us last year on this fight against galamsey, which failed, we, as a farmer, I'm not too sure we are going anywhere.
And that sounds very disturbing. And so the question again was, does the future look bleak? Because the president has been very consistent in his pronouncements that he is going to fight galamsey. I remember even when he addressed Parliament and he was making reference to Abu Jinapor, who is currently the Lands and Natural Resources Minister. He was emphatic that he was young and his appointment was going to change the face of everything. But Dr. Nyaba has a different opinion.
Yes, because if you take most of the areas where these galamsey activities are taking places, are intensive cocoa growing areas. And cocoa is one of the backbone of our economy in terms of foreign exchange. Now we are getting indication that even the cocoa seeds that have been tested in recent time are found to have some chemical concentrates. Yes, submercury in them. Now, you know, these foreign countries where we export the cocoa to, they have all the technology to be able to determine some of these things. So if they detect and get to know that Ghana cocoa is infected with mercury, the tendency of us losing the market there is high. That's one. So imagine Ghana lose cocoa market. What happened to the country? What happened to the farmers? Because apart from these areas where galamsey activities are taking place, there are other places far away from the areas where farmers are still doing cocoa. And when that happens, it doesn't mean that they are going to isolate only the galamsey areas where the cocoa is grown. It means that Ghana cocoa is going to be rejected at the global level. And when that happens, a number of farmers who will be out of business is going to be massive. Apart from that, we only did a test on cocoa. There are other food crops that we grow in those areas, which you and I consume. So we cannot even tell the kind of chemicals that we are consuming as a stand. So this tells you the extent of the impact that we are all undergoing. So our last hope is that government or whichever policymaker is listening to this discussion will take a drastic steps to ensure that we stop this as soon as we can.
And so before I wrapped up with Dr. Nyaba, I asked what they want to do, because they cannot continue to sit on the fence because their source of livelihood is being snatched away from them. And this was his response.
For we, the farmers, we have been contemplating, there are several drastic measures that would have been taken for now. But we are getting good counsel from big people. That's why we are keeping quiet. But when it gets to a time that we all come to realize that there is no hope, and then we know that there is nobody backing us, we will take the law into our own hands. We will go out and attack whoever will come to the site to do any galamsey activities. After all, either doing it or you don't do it, your life is useless. So it's better you just go out for them to kill you than for you to sit down, you allow your last economic activity where your life depends on is being taken away, and nobody seems to pay attention to your plight.
In Fanti, they will say, Penyin will fear. Oye, it's a sad story. I may be smiling, but I'm not happy at all because and let me be very blunt and use the word, the nonsense must stop. So the question was, we have elders, we have statesmen, we have all kinds of people in this country. How do they feel about the deep silence? And again, it appeared as if they've lost hope in those people.
We think that we need non-partisan committee, which cuts across all political divides, not necessarily being formed by only people who are in power to handle this situation. That's one. We think that the community members, including ourselves, who are beneficiaries of the land, who actually feel direct impact of the activities of Galamsey, be part of such committee. Now we need to take the Chinese approach, that whoever is caught destroying the vegetation and trying to do illegal mining in the area, they should be treated as murderers. If it's going to be life imprisonment, such should be done. And if that is failed, they should allow community members to actually come out with their own bylaws. And I'm telling you, if the community members are emboldened and allowed to actually guard the place, I'm sure these activities will be minimized.
It's not going to be a recipe for possible clashes, especially if the community members decide to maybe apply force to protect what is theirs.
In the first place, these people are still there behaving the way they do because they are being empowered and emboldened by big forces up there. And they know that when they do it and the police even arrest them, the following day they'll be released. But if they know that the community are those who are actually watching over the resources and that anything they do can even lead to instant justice, I'm telling you, these people will run away. And because they know that they are being empowered and supported by a particular political regime, that's why they continue to do that. But if you have bipartisan committee that is backing the community members, also being supported by the beneficiary communities and the farmers, I'm telling you, this issue will stop within less than a year. I don't sleep because I realize that agriculture is our last hope. When COVID hit the country, it was agriculture that survived because all the sectors were growing at -%. But agriculture was still contributing positively to the economy. Now that sector is also being destroyed by another sector which has serious implications on our water system, on our environment, on our food system, on the economy and the livelihood activities of the beneficiary community. Yes, and nobody seems to pay serious attention to that. So I think we need to discuss this beyond partisan lines.
And so that was Dr. Charles Kwame Inyaba. He's the Executive Director of the Peasant Farmers Association. Do your own deductions. At this stage, I'm going to open the phone lines. You just call us and we hear your opinion on what you think must be the best approach to dealing with this menace head-on. He's recommended, for example, that community members should be empowered and we should adopt the Aisha One's country's approach, the Chinese approach, that if you break the law under such circumstances, it should be treated as a murderer and dealt with appropriately. I'm sure we have somebody who has already called us on the line. Let's hear him. Good evening and thanks for your time on Ideas Exchange tonight.
Yeah, good evening, Brother Eric.
Right.
I'm so grateful for what you're doing.
And
one thing I'm seeing is that look at these Ghanaians, we are so silent or we are very coward. Our livelihood is being destroyed. We have big men in this country. Men of God are there. We have chiefs. We have political activists who could speak. They're not speaking because this political regime is bent on destroying everything. Just look at from education. I'm a teacher. From education to agriculture to every aspect. And they don't even have the content of telling me the truth. Look at what they're doing. Everything about this government is cosmetic. They are not doing anything. This government, I think, God to kill him. Else, the country will fall. So let's do something.
What just we should do as a people.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. He didn't hear my question, but I believe there's somebody else on the line. Good evening. Please let us know where you joined us from and make your contribution snappy. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes. Where did you call us from, sir?
Yeah, I'm calling to contribute to your program.
Right. Location, please.
I'm from Tamale.
Tamale. Go ahead.
Yes. Can you hear me, please?
Yes.
Yeah. What I'm going to say is that this issue of H1 issue, I don't know why Ghanaians are worrying themselves about this issue, because the incumbent government, the government in power of the day, is making it clear to everyone that he's not ready to fight anything concerning the Galamsey issue. There has been a rumor that this woman was a financier of the party, of the New Patriotic Party. How do we expect the government of the day to prosecute him? I'm going to say that this Attorney General intervention is just a way of clearing the woman to go back to Islam.
And so what do you suggest we do as a people?
What I suggest we do as a people to fight the needs of Galamsey is these people who are largely engaged in the Galamsey activities are coming from the farming communities. The government of the day could have, if you make your mind to fight the Galamsey, you could have absorbed these people, open something like a state farm, engage them, employ them, at least 500 Ghana each every month. They would have appreciated before you can talk of ending Galamsey.
All right.
But you cannot say you are teaching somebody from Galamsey when you don't give the person alternative.
So you are looking at alternative livelihood support. Thank you. That's an instructive commentary. But the fact is that many of these people are coming from different areas rather than the community people themselves. They use them as ordinary hands and exploit them. That is one other aspect of this. Good evening.
Good evening, my
Right. So your location, please, sir.
I'm calling from Tamale, please.
Tamale. Today, my Tamale viewers are picking all the calls. Briefly, make your point.
What I'm going to tell the community is that the communities, they're supposed to come out to fight for themselves. If they are going to rely on the council of elders and whatever, and secretary, they will fail totally. So what they are going to do, they should prevent them. If the community keeps announcing, they should come and prevent themselves. But they are destroying their water bodies, and they are consuming the water. Get me? So the community, they should come out and prevent themselves. They are using them for money. If they are going to stop it, the community, that's so far. So the community, if I were the part of the community, I would just come out boldly to lay out all the plans that we have to prevent ourselves there.
All right.
Because the security, we don't believe that. The council elders, the leaders, and what are they? What are the leaders?
Okay. Very passionate there. Let's talk to another person online. Good evening, and let's know where you called from.
Yes, my name is Daniel. I'm speaking from Buddha and Jessica district.
Okay. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, please. What I have to say is, if our country is being sold, which we don't know. Our country is being sold, but we don't know. The problem is this. Why should somebody far away from a different continent come to work illegally, which our head of state, or let me say our president's best friend, said because of the hydro, whatever, the Chinese is helping us.
The Sino-Hydro loan was what they were referring to.
Yeah, exactly. So they are saying that I want back. Then why today is he in the country again?
All right.
So the first place we should ask the president, and now what we have to do is we should have our people try to look at our borders very well. And secondly, to our cocoa farms, we are all dead.
Okay.
Because I've been invested in life from, let me say, 10 years. And today, if mercury is being found in our cocoa, where am I going again?
All right.
The country is
sorry, I'm chasing you out. I want to pick one or two more calls and then we wrap up. Let me talk to this person here. Good evening, and let's know where you called from.
My name is Moro, and I'm calling from Kumasi.
Kumasi, good.
Yeah, from hearing the man. Nyaba, that man, the name Nyaba, the man.
Yes, the Peasant Farmers Association Executive Director.
Now, it's very sad. It's very sad. I'm just short of words. What are we doing as a country? Huh? And after blaming the president and his people, you have to blame the chief. You are there as a chief. You will be there forever. You are just going to take this small money. And what? Oh, this is too much. This is too much. I don't know.
I understand you. Unfortunately, we don't have much time. I'm going to wrap up with something I want you to reflect on. There are three in one. The first one is about those who subscribe to the call that community members must rise up and fight for their right if government will not do or honor its responsibility. It's a recipe for chaos. Hang that one. Now look at what Gabi Asari Ochredakun shared moments after news broke about Aisha Wan's arrest. And some have described it as very provocative because he's suggesting that she has re-entered Ghana, and so what? It's normal. And therefore, he's rubbishing the concern about the re-emergence of that name, Aisha Wan, who is a Galamsey queen. And look at what he shared. You realize, he says, why do we love to overbash ourselves? Even in Ireland, UK, illegal immigrants, black Africans included, sneak in. She's been caught and under arrest. There our system worked. Vote for a 2024 manifesto which promises you a wall across our borders. Why this post? And the question is Gabi trying to rationalize this foolishness? You arrest somebody destroying your environment. She comes again with guns, supplying people to protect themselves, kill innocent Ghanaians. You arrest her, and a whole senior minister proudly talks about why she has to be deported. And the president comes, and after he was sworn in for the second time, he appoints the same person who slapped us in our face by deporting Aisha Wan to make him again a senior minister. A reflection of, I don't care. And that's where we are. And that's how I'm ending tonight's note. Please be angry. And if you belong to any community where this is happening, please rise up. But me, where I come from, I can proudly say that the Volta River is as clean as how God created it. If I drive across Adome Bridge or Sogakopa Bridge, I see it as clean as it should be to feed the people in the area, apart from disturbances by water hyacinth. But the fact is, I'll be surprised if the chiefs there look on for thieves to invade that part of the country, because I know there's gold there. Let them dare, and they'll face it. That's how I end tonight's program. My name is Eric Koku Ahianyo. Today I've added a middle name, and thanks to all my producers. Let's meet again next week.